Ladies and gentlemen, manipulation is one of the most insidious weapons of an evil person. It's not always loud or obvious. It often hides in the shadows, in the subtle shifts of conversation, in the carefully placed words that make you second guess what you know to be true. The most dangerous manipulators don't just lie, they distort reality so convincingly that you start to doubt yourself. They take facts and twist them just enough to serve their agenda, leaving you confused and vulnerable. These individuals are not just playing mind games for fun. They are strategizing. Every word, every action, every carefully placed sigh or glance is meant to control you. They create a version of events that benefits them, even if it means rewriting history. You may find yourself apologizing for things you never did, questioning whether your emotions are valid, or wondering if you're the problem when in reality they are pulling the strings. One of the most common forms of manipulation is gaslighting. They will tell you that what you saw didn't really happen, that you're overreacting, that you're being too sensitive. They chip away at your confidence, making you reliant on them for what's true. It starts small. Maybe they deny saying something hurtful, even though you clearly remember it. Over time, they push further, making you feel like you're losing your grip on reality. Another tactic they use is guilt tripping. They turn situations around so that they always appear to be the victim, even when they are the one at fault. If you call them out on their behavior, they won't take responsibility. Instead, they'll act wounded, making you feel like a terrible person for even questioning them. They know how to make you feel selfish, unreasonable, or even cruel for standing up for yourself. Manipulators are masters of selective kindness. One day they'll shower you with affection, praise, and validation. The next, they'll withdraw and leave you feeling lost. This creates a cycle where you crave their approval and work harder to please them, even when they treat you poorly. This unpredictability keeps you on edge, never sure where you stand, and always trying to earn back their favor. Another hallmark of their manipulation is divide and conquer. They pit people against each other, planting seeds of doubt and mistrust in your relationships. They might tell you that someone you trust has been speaking negatively about you, causing you to pull away from healthy connections. Isolating you makes you more dependent on them, allowing them to deepen their control. They are also experts in playing the long game. Unlike impulsive liars, they don't just manipulate in the moment, they craft narratives over time. They build trust first, making you feel safe, only to use that trust as leverage against you later. Their manipulations are calculated, ensuring that when they need to exert control, you're already tangled in their web. Perhaps the most chilling part of all is that they do this without remorse. There is no guilt, no hesitation, no moment of reflection. They don't lose sleep over the pain they cause. If you catch them in a lie or manipulation, they won't feel embarrassed or ashamed. They'll simply pivot, spinning a new web of deceit. Their lack of conscience allows them to continue harming others without a second thought. So, how do you protect yourself? Awareness is the first step. If you recognize these patterns, trust what you see and feel. Manipulation thrives in confusion. Clarity is your defense. Set firm boundaries and remember that you are not responsible for fixing them, changing them, or making sense of their behavior. You deserve relationships built on honesty, respect, and integrity. Most importantly, remind yourself that your reality is valid. If you feel manipulated, you probably are. Trust yourself, trust your instincts, and know that you don't have to tolerate someone who twists the truth at your expense. The moment you stop questioning your own reality and start standing firm in your truth is the moment their power over you begins to crumble. Empathy is what makes us human. It's the ability to feel what someone else is feeling, to share in their joys and their pain, to connect on a deeper level beyond just words. But when you're dealing with a truly evil person, empathy is absent. It's not just that they struggle to understand emotions, it's that they don't care. They see people as tools, objects to be used, manipulated, and discarded when they're no longer useful. You can often spot this lack of empathy in the way they react to others' suffering. A normal person might wince when they hear about someone's pain, offer a word of comfort, or feel a tug at their heart when a loved one is struggling. But an unempathetic person, they are indifferent or worse. They might even take pleasure in someone else's misfortune. If something doesn't benefit them, it doesn't register as important. They may nod along when someone shares a hardship, but their eyes remain cold, their words empty, their presence detached. This emotional void is especially clear when they hurt others. Most people feel at least a twinge of guilt when they know they've wronged someone. They might apologize, try to make amends, or at the very least feel some level of discomfort about causing pain. But a person who lacks empathy, they don't feel regret, they feel justified. If they insult someone, betray their trust, or manipulate them, it's not something they reflect on. They move forward without a second thought because in their world, other people's emotions simply don't matter. One of the most dangerous aspects of an unempathetic person is their ability to fake emotion. They know that showing empathy is expected, so they mimic it when necessary. They might offer a well-timed, "I'm so sorry," or force a sympathetic expression, but it's a performance. They don't actually feel what they're expressing. It's all about appearances. If you pay close attention, you'll notice that their sympathy is shallow, often vanishing the moment the conversation shifts away from them. Perhaps the most painful realization is that their lack of empathy extends to relationships that should be built on love and care. A friend who lacks empathy will dismiss your feelings. A partner who lacks empathy will gaslight you. A family member who lacks empathy will only show up when they need something. They don't offer support unless there's something in it for them. And when you need them the most, they're nowhere to be found. Because they see people as tools rather than human beings, they have no problem discarding relationships when they're no longer useful. If you stop serving a purpose in their life, whether it's emotional, financial, or social, they will move on without hesitation. There is no loyalty, no deep emotional bond keeping them connected. The moment you become an inconvenience or a challenge, they will replace you like an old appliance that no longer works. Another clear sign of their lack of empathy is their inability to celebrate others' success. While most people feel happy for their loved ones' achievements, an unempathetic person sees success as a competition. If you succeed, it makes them feel inferior. So instead of cheering you on, they downplay your achievements, make passive-aggressive comments, or shift the attention back to themselves. They can't put themselves in your shoes to feel genuine happiness for you, because they are too consumed by their own needs. This absence of empathy doesn't just affect personal relationships, it extends to every aspect of their life. In the workplace, they'll exploit colleagues without a second thought. In friendships, they'll take more than they give. In society, they'll disregard rules, morals, or basic human decency if it means getting ahead. They don't see people as individuals with feelings, they see them as stepping stones to be used and discarded. Protecting yourself from someone like this requires recognizing their patterns and refusing to make excuses for them. It's easy to think maybe they just had a tough childhood, or maybe they don't realize how hurtful they're being. But at some point, you have to accept that some people simply do not care. If someone consistently shows you that they lack empathy, believe them. The best way to counteract an unempathetic person is to set firm boundaries. You won't change them, and you won't teach them to care, because empathy isn't something you can force into someone, but you can protect your own peace by refusing to engage in their games. You deserve relationships where your feelings are valued, your pain is acknowledged, and your joy is celebrated. And most importantly, you deserve to be surrounded by people who see you as a human being, not just a tool for their own gain. They thrive on chaos and destruction. They create division and feed off negativity. Some people walk into a room and bring light, peace, and connection. Others, they bring destruction. The kind of person we're talking about here doesn't just cause occasional problems, they thrive on them. Chaos is their comfort zone, destruction is their playground. Instead of working to resolve issues or bring people together, they do the opposite. They create drama, plant seeds of doubt, and ensure that the people around them remain in a constant state of turmoil. At first, their chaos might seem unintentional. They might act like they're just telling it like it is or keeping things interesting. But over time, you start to see a pattern. No matter where they go, division follows, relationships suffer, trust is broken, and people turn against each other. Yet somehow they always manage to escape responsibility, watching the destruction from a safe distance as if they had nothing to do with it. One of their favorite tools is stirring up conflict. They know exactly what to say to trigger emotions, to make people feel insecure, or to ignite arguments. They may whisper a rumor here, twist someone's words there, or simply drop a subtle comment that makes one person doubt another. They don't need to be the loudest person in the room to cause damage. Sometimes all it takes is a well-placed lie or a carefully crafted piece of gossip. They also use divide and conquer tactics. They don't want people to be united because unity is a threat to their control. Instead, they pit friends against each other, turn family members into enemies, and ensure that no one is fully trusting of anyone else. They may tell you one thing and tell someone else the opposite, making sure that confusion and tension are always present. The more disconnected people become, the more power they gain. These individuals are not just disruptive, they are destructive. They don't just cause temporary setbacks, they ruin lives. They break friendships, end marriages, destroy careers, and fracture families. And what's terrifying is that they don't feel bad about it. They actually enjoy watching the chaos unfold. There is something deeply satisfying to them about seeing people in distress, especially when they know they were the ones who caused it. You can also recognize them by their addiction to negativity. They are never truly happy, and they don't want anyone else to be happy either. If things are peaceful for too long, they will find a way to shake things up. Maybe they'll manufacture a crisis, start an argument out of nowhere, or suddenly create tension where there was none. They are uncomfortable with stability because stability means they have no power. Chaos, on the other hand, gives them the control they crave. In group settings, they love to play the victim while secretly being the villain. If they get caught in a lie, they will act like they were misunderstood. If their manipulation comes to light, they will claim that they are being unfairly attacked. And while they are busy playing the victim, they are also making sure to stir the pot behind the scenes, keeping people at odds with each other so that no one ever stops to question their role in all the drama. They also have a deep fear of accountability. They will never take responsibility for the destruction they cause. Instead, they blame others, shift the focus, and even rewrite history to make themselves look innocent. If confronted, they will gaslight you, making you question whether the chaos was even their fault in the first place. They will never admit to being the common denominator in all the destruction around them, because that would mean losing their ability to manipulate. One of the biggest signs of these individuals is that they leave destruction wherever they go. If you look at their past, you'll see a trail of broken relationships, ruined friendships, and unresolved conflicts. They move from one environment to another, causing damage before slipping away and leaving others to clean up their mess. And just when things start to settle, they resurface to create more havoc, repeating the cycle over and over again. So how do you protect yourself from someone who thrives on chaos and destruction? Distance is key. The less access they have to your life, the less damage they can do. Set boundaries, refuse to be dragged into their drama, and most importantly, don't let them make you doubt what you know to be true. They will try to twist reality, make you feel like you're overreacting, and pull you into their web of deception. But you don't have to play their game. At the end of the day, you deserve peace. You deserve relationships built on trust, honesty, and stability. And the best way to reclaim that peace is to recognize these chaos-driven individuals for what they are and refuse to give them the power they so desperately crave. They wear a mask of deception. They charm and deceive to gain trust, only to betray it later. Deception is an art form for some people. They don't just tell lies, they live them. Every interaction, every carefully chosen word, every calculated expression is designed to make you believe in them, to trust them, to let them into your world. But beneath the charm, the smiles, and the convincing words, there is something dark, something dangerous. These individuals wear a mask of kindness, of honesty, of sincerity, but it's all a performance. And when the time is right, that mask falls away, revealing who they truly are. The most dangerous thing about these deceivers is that they don't look dangerous at first. In fact, they often seem too good to be true. They know exactly what you want to hear, and they say it. They understand what you're looking for in a friend, a partner, a leader, or a mentor, and they mirror it perfectly. They present themselves as trustworthy, as someone you can confide in, as someone who gets you. And because they're so good at the act, you believe them. You want to believe them. But deception isn't just about lying, it's about playing a role. These people don't just tell small untruths, they craft entire identities based on what benefits them in the moment. They might pretend to be kind-hearted when in reality they lack empathy. They might act like they have integrity when in truth they have no moral compass. They might present themselves as a protector, a savior, a guide, only to be the very person who leads you into harm. One of their most dangerous tactics is love bombing and flattery. If they want something from you, your trust, your loyalty, your resources, they will make you feel special. They will shower you with compliments, make grand gestures, and convince you that you are deeply important to them. But this affection is not real. It is a tool, a weapon of manipulation designed to make you lower your guard. And once they have what they want, the warmth disappears, the charm fades. You are left wondering if the person you first met was ever real at all. These deceivers also exploit your vulnerabilities. They are skilled at identifying your fears, your insecurities, and your weaknesses. If you crave validation, they will give it to you until they use it against you. If you have trust issues, they will work overtime to convince you that they are different until they break that trust. If you are someone who always sees the good in people, they will take advantage of that kindness again and again. Perhaps the most painful part of dealing with a deceptive person is the inevitable betrayal. Because deception is not just about gaining trust, it's about using it. These individuals do not build relationships, they build opportunities. And once they have extracted everything they can from you, whether it's your support, your love, your resources, or your reputation, they will discard you without hesitation. You were never a friend to them, never a partner, never someone they truly cared about. You were a stepping stone. And when you realize this, it cuts deeper than any lie ever could. These deceivers are also masters of shifting blame. When their mask begins to slip, when you start to see the cracks in their carefully crafted persona, they don't own up to it. Instead, they gaslight, deflect, and manipulate. They make you question yourself. They tell you that you're imagining things, that you're being paranoid, that you're overreacting. And because they have spent so much time earning your trust, you hesitate. You doubt yourself. You wonder if maybe, just maybe, you're wrong. One of the most revealing traits of a truly toxic person is their absolute refusal to take responsibility for their actions. No matter what they do, no matter how much harm they cause, it is never their fault. Instead of acknowledging their mistakes, they shift the blame onto others, twist the truth, and paint themselves as the victim. They rewrite history to suit their narrative, making sure that someone else always bears the weight of their wrongdoing. At first, this tendency to avoid accountability might seem like simple defensiveness. After all, nobody enjoys admitting they're wrong, but with these individuals, it goes far beyond occasional stubbornness. It is a way of life. They have mastered the art of manipulation, using blame and deflection as weapons to control situations, damage reputations, and protect their fragile egos. To them, accountability is not just uncomfortable, it's a threat to their carefully constructed image. One of the most common tactics they use is blame shifting. If they hurt you, somehow it becomes your fault. If they fail at something, someone else is to blame. If their lies are exposed, they accuse others of being dishonest. No matter the situation, they always find a way to point the finger elsewhere. And the worst part? They do it so convincingly that people around them start to believe it. They create confusion, planting seeds of doubt until even the most logical minds begin to question reality. Another dangerous tool in their arsenal is deflection. When confronted with the truth, they don't respond with honesty or accountability, they respond with distraction. Instead of addressing the issue at hand, they bring up unrelated past events, attack your character, or play the what about game to steer the conversation away from their own behavior. If you tell them they hurt you, they'll remind you of a time you made a mistake. If you call them out for lying, they'll suddenly accuse you of being too sensitive or dramatic. Perhaps the most insidious tactic they use is playing the victim. Even when they are the ones causing harm, they find a way to position themselves as the ones who have been wronged. They exaggerate minor slights, twist the narrative, and gather sympathy from others. Instead of taking responsibility, they paint themselves as misunderstood, unfairly attacked, or even persecuted. And because many people are naturally empathetic, they fall for this act, offering comfort and support to the very person who caused the damage. A person who never takes accountability also never grows. Admitting mistakes, learning from them, and making changes is how people evolve, but those who refuse to acknowledge their wrongdoings remain stagnant, repeating the same destructive patterns over and over again. They may move from one job to another, one relationship to the next, always blaming others for their failures while refusing to look in the mirror. They avoid personal growth because growth requires self-awareness, and self-awareness threatens their carefully constructed illusions. You can often spot these individuals by the trail of damaged relationships they leave behind. If you listen to their stories, you'll notice a pattern. Every ex was crazy, every former friend was jealous, every boss was unfair, and every failed opportunity was someone else's fault. The common denominator in all these failed connections is them, but they will never admit that. Instead, they move on, finding new people to deceive, new scapegoats to blame, and new audiences for their victim narrative. So how do you protect yourself from someone who never takes accountability? Stop engaging in their games. These people thrive on argument, gaslighting, and emotional manipulation. The more you try to reason with them, the more they twist the situation to make themselves look innocent. Instead of getting caught up in their web, set firm boundaries. Recognize their patterns early and refuse to take responsibility for their actions. At the end of the day, accountability is a fundamental part of integrity, growth, and healthy relationships. You deserve to be around people who can admit when they're wrong, who take responsibility for their actions, and who work to make things right. And the best way to protect your peace is to step away from those who refuse to do the same.